Upon reaching Japan, the early Japanese people found a landform that was completely different from what they had left. Most obviously, Japan is an archipelago of 4 large islands, as well as hundreds of smaller islands. However, the archipelago itself is very mountainous, with only less than 20% of the land being suitable for farming. In fact, Japan only really managed to secure its agricultural hold on the northernmost of the home islands, Hokkaido, during the early 20th century. As such, much of the drama of Japanese history from 100 BC onward would play out in a stretch of relatively flat land from Osaka to Tokyo, a distance of only 300 miles or so. Understandably, having such a limited amount of land meant that the sea became important from the earliest days of Japanese history. Most obviously, the 120 miles between Japan and the Korean peninsula served to insulate the islands from any undesirable foreign influences. To put this into perspective, Britain has long since used the English Channel as a barrier against actions on the European mainland. But the channel is only 21 miles wide at its most narrow point. In fact, you can see the White Cliffs of Dover, England, from Calais in France. On the other hand, 120 miles is not only a much longer distance, but is also out of visual sight. Finally, the straits between Japan and Korea often have storms, such as the famous Kamikaze storms that wiped out the invasion fleet of Genghis Khan. Yet the sea is also important for transportation, trade, and food. With such a mountainous country, the short jumps across the straits and inlets presented the fastest way to move people, materials, and even ideas from one part of Japan to the other. Further, and notable in Japan even today, is that the waters of Japan are extremely rich in seafood and fish. This has meant that an easy food source has always been available, despite the unpredictability of the crops. Today, this is evidenced in the importance of sushi and sashimi as culinary exports.